I will show you how to create a saved query. So let's go ahead with the multiple options now. Click next. Now it will take us to the target, right? So target, again you select database connection with SQL Server, and then select the target object as customer orders, the first thing. Yeah. So this is kind of a combination of both the tables. So some columns from orders would be here. Okay, there is no data. Then click on next. Now it will take us to the data filters tab. So this data filters tab is exactly similar to what we have in replication. So if I click on new data filters, I'll be able to put the filters against my customer table, against my order table. So this is exactly similar the way we configure it for our replication task. Yeah, that kind of a thing. Or I can go for advanced as well, right, where we can provide the multiple things and all, right, that way. Currently we don't have to even configure it, right? I'll just go to next one in the field mappings. So here again the other difference between the replication and synchronization is, in the synchronization I do have to map the fields across my source and targets, right? Because my source tables customer and orders and the target table customer orders, everything is kind of existing one. We are not going to create anything on the fly because synchronization task will not allow me to create anything on the fly. We have to use the existing ones only. Okay, now if you see, some of the fields are already mapped. The fields which are exactly same in nomenclature, they are mapped like customer id, phone and order id. But uh, from the left hand side, right, my source tables, the fields from my customer and orders, right? Right hand side is my customer order table, which is my target, right? Now first name and f name are not mapped. Why? Because they are not exactly same. So what we can do is we can go to that auto map drop down on the right hand side, yeah, and then select the smart map. Now f name and first name, l name and last name are mapped, right? Email got mapped to email id, that thing, right? So these are the fields which we can map, right? There could be few fields which are there in the source, right, but there is no place stored in the target, so that is okay, right? So this is how we can map the fields across source and target. Now there are some more fields over here, right? And if you see in the actions, there are like three buttons: fx, a magnifier, a glass which is lookup, and then the cancel, right? So if you click on the cancel for email, right, so just click on that cancel icon against email. So this is how, yeah, click that. So this is how we can unmap any particular field if you want to do. And then you can drag the email id again and place it against email id from the left hand side, drag it. So this is how we can even drag the fields across, right? So that is the cancel button, right? Two more things, fx and magnifier glass, right? So click on that fx against full name, 1 2 3 4, yeah, yeah, fx. So this will allow us to add simple expressions right over here. So the way we provide syntax for uh, expression transformation, right, we can do it here. So full name is what, right? It is concatenation of the first name and last name, right? Yeah, so that way you can validate. So your expression is valid, first name and last name. Either you can go with the syntax we used to have in the power center, or people who are really new, right, to etl world and all, for them if you scroll down, here we have functions. So if you go to the yeah, string, and if you, so there is a concat function already, right? So if you click on that concat function, right, it will give you syntax, right? And then we can replace the syntax, right? String one can be replaced with the first name, comma, last name. Here we don't have to provide that, maybe it is just comma, that kind of thing we can provide over here. And then validate again, it is valid, right? So this is how we can make use of the predefined functions, right? Or we can use our own syntax also, right? Anything will do, right? Syntax will be similar to what we have in the power centers expression transformation. It is similar to that. Okay, now scroll down and click ok. So we expression for full name, right? Now we have few fields like created by, right, created date, right? So just click fx sign against created by, and we can do the hard codings also over here, right? So created by, just have in single quotes maybe etl underscore admin, validate that it is valid, click ok. So this is how we can default the things as well, or hard code the things, right? For created date also, maybe you click on that fx sign, it is valid, okay, click ok. So this is how we can even have the expressions. Now for that lookup, right, we don't have much relevant scenario, but then just let's do one thing. For line number, right, click on that magnifier glass icon, the lookup icon, last field, yeah. So here I'll just show you how to do it. So say for example, so now if you want to do a lookup, right? So what you can do is like you can select the connection, maybe database connection or something. Then you can select the object, right? Can you select order, and then source field you can select as order ID, and then lookup field also you can select as order ID, and then you can drive what is gonna be your lookup field, right? Select. Oh, you have line number. Okay, perfect, right? And then you can select the multiple policy and all. This is, so here multiplicity is not that we will be able to pull multiple matches, as it is a dedicated one, right? We are doing it for a particular. So if we start getting multiple matches, then my whole, I would say, matrix will go for a toss, right? So that is why we can just have like pick random anyone or that error, that's it. And then once we complete all these field mappings, then if you scroll up, there is a validate mapping button, so click on that. So there might be some issues across the source and target fields with respect to data types and all, right? Data types are incompatible and all, right? So that is why it is really important to do the validate mapping. As we see that the field mapping is valid and has no errors, so we are good to go, right? Then you can again scroll down and click on next. Now it will take us to the last tab, which is schedule tab. Now this schedule tab is again similar to what we have in the replication. Either we can run this task on demand or we can run this task on schedule, right? So we'll keep it as run on demand for now. Do not run this task on schedule. Email notification also we discussed last time, that use the default email notification means if we have configured the emails for failure, success and warning in the administrator tab, right, then those emails will be picked up, and in case of any particular event, whether it is failing or having warning or success, those email will get notified by default, right? But if I go for the second option, which is use custom email notifications, as in what will happen if I don't want to send email IDs to the defaulted ones, right, in the administrator, then here I can provide different email IDs, and only for this particular synchronization task I'll have different set of email IDs or different set of DLs to be notified to. That's it. Okay, so for now you can just go for the use default, right? And maybe what we can do is I'll show you that option again once we create this replica synchronization task, right? How to set those default email IDs, and then for every execution which you do, right, you will keep on getting alert mails from Informatica Cloud. Okay, so scroll down. Now pre and post processing command are also similar, right? If you want to run something, any particular script or any particular command, right, then we can run that before the execution in the pre, and post is after synchronization, we can do that, right? Parameter files also can be used over here, as in the default things we did, right? The created date, created by, right? So to avoid the hard codings and have the parameter values, we can define the parameters over there, and they can be initialized from the parameter file, right? Now number of session logs, again by default 10, you can decrease it, increase it, right? And then update columns, as we have selected the upsert operation, now update column needs to be mentioned, so click on that add, and then you select the key, right? So for customer orders, customer ID is going to be the key, right? So select customer ID, yeah, and then yeah, add it into the update columns. If we have multiple fields which will define the uniqueness of a record, then we can add those many columns also in the update columns. Okay, if it is a composite kind of a primary key, then we can add multiple columns. Okay, click OK. Currently we are good with only customer ID. Then we have configured everything, right? Then you can click on finish. So it will validate and then it will get saved successfully. Okay, now what you could do is, now you can go ahead and run this. Now click on my jobs. Now if you go to the my jobs tab by clicking in the left hand side, right, then you will see the previous runs as well, right? On the top, on the top you see that hyperlink as well, right? Whenever you execute something, then it says running and then it will, you will get a hyperlink for my jobs. If you click that hyperlink, then what will happen? By default there will be a filter added and you will be able to see only that particular named task in the execution. And then, so, or you can even put filter here as well. So if you see, right, updates available on the right hand side, we have synchrono refresh button and we have filter as well, right? So if you don't want to select a lot of things, you can just add a filter, select that particular instance name with the exact task name, and then you will only see those. Click on that refresh updated 6.9. For the first time, definitely it will take some more time, as it will create some you know caches and all, right? Internal caches, and then it might take maybe some more time. Can you go back to the my jobs tab, left hand side, and now again try refreshing. Let's see if it is successful. So customers, we had this particular data set, right? uh, yeah, select the customer orders. Yeah, and then, yeah, we might have to wait. We have the data already, right? So here if we see created by the ETL admin, and then if you scroll to the right, created date as sysdate, right? It has come correctly, and then line number also got pulled from the lookup. Okay, so this is how the data is synchronized from multiple sources to the target table, right? Now if you rerun the synchronization task, right, then it will have same data, because unless you update something in the source, right, the operation is upset, you'll have to update something in the source, so that you can try at your end. So whenever you're doing your own hands-on, right, that time what you could do is, like, you can even change the combination, go with single source and the target multiple, right? That you can keep on practicing at your end. Maybe you can use different combinations of the source and target table. What you could do is, like, you can have like employees and department as a source, and target you can kind of, maybe you can create a table which will be a combination of employee and departments, right, in the database. You can manually create that table, and then you can have that table as a target. So multiple things you can test out, right? The intention over here would be, or you can even try table to flat file to table, those things. Intention of this hands-on would be, you should be able to synchronize data across all the possible combinations of source and target, right? Salesforce, anyways, we haven't discussed it yet, right? So whenever we will use, whenever we will conduct the Salesforce topic, that time even we are going to touch base again on the replication and synchronization. The reason being, in the replication, we haven't demonstrated the incremental options yet, right? And then those incremental options are valid only for Salesforce sources, so that part is still yet to be touched, right? So that is why we'll again going to replication again. So that time again you can have Salesforce also as a source or target. Synchronization task can push data into the Salesforce as well, so Salesforce can be a target over here, which is again not the case with replication. So that is another difference we have across these two, because this is going to be like a really common interview question, right? What is the difference between synchronization and replication? And lot of people I have seen, right, when I conduct the interviews, or whenever I have any new people joining in my team, right, they know what is replication, they know what is synchronization, but they fail to explain the difference between. So it seems that both are doing like integration only, But then what is the actual difference, right? In which scenario will use replication, in which scenario will use the synchronization, that they are not clear about. Or the basic thing that replication will create the tables on the fly, we can't use the existing table, and that is exactly opposite to the synchronization. Synchronization can't create the table on the fly, and they have to use the existing ones only. Even if anybody explains that basic difference, it is still justifiable, right? So we need to really understand the scenarios where we can use the synchronization and replication so that we can use them effectively. So now if I go back to my syllabus, let me read out the topics, and I don't want to again keep switching between the uh, systems to share.
Yes.
So we talked about synchronization overview. We talked about synchronization features and benefits, right? We created a synchronization task, data filters and field expressions we explored, right? How to have the data filters, how to add the field expressions, like, we did the defaulting for created by created date and the full name, right? So that part we covered. Pre and post processing command we did not practically execute it, but we discussed how to do that, right? In which scenario we can do that, right? Because currently our secure agent is on the Windows machine, right? So we need to have some bash scripts or something to demonstrate pre and post SQL. So that is something we haven't done. Multiple object source types also we explored, that we selected customer and order, couple of tables, right? Now one part which is still remaining is the saved query.